Thank you, Minister, for having me do this interview.
You're welcome. It's good to see you again.
It's my pleasure. Seeing that you are a very socially aware minister, I wanted to start off with a question from social media.
Okay.
And the question from Facebook was, what motivates you to stay the course?
That's a good question. And people ask me that all the time. It actually comes in different ways. One way is, why are you involved in such a dirty sport? Why such a young person like you decided to go into politics? I've always wanted to go into politics. I thought that one of the best ways to have an impact on people's lives is if you have a good quality government. And it's a career that helps people. And I have always been involved in helping people. So that is what motivates me. My constituency motivates me. Seeing people's lives change motivate me. Being around people motivate me. It's a very demanding job. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there are days that are not difficult. It's a very, very difficult job. But I think all of us are made for some things, and I think my personality has given me the fortitude to actually stay the course. And so there are days when the sheer criticism actually motivates you. And there are days when you are walking the streets of downtown or even the streets of your constituency or in a community. And the people, the sheer attitude of the people motivate you. So that's what makes me stay the course.
What's the most difficult part?
There are probably three things that I would say come together to form a difficulty about being in politics. One is recognizing that it takes significant resources to put the kind of infrastructural development that's necessary. In my area, for instance, I have a rural constituency. And so things like farm roads, housing developments, water is a major issue. And roads generally are a major issue because typically you have a lot of trucks that drive through, so you might patch a road, fix a road, and then later on. Another thing is training. Because of the geographical component of sometimes in rural areas, the training facilities are spread out, and that is also a difficulty. And I think also time. I tell people I work 8 days a week. And that is also a difficulty, finding enough time to make sure you balance the ministry work, balance the constituency work, balance your family, and balance your regional work. And then in the mix of it, because you are affiliated to, and you are a member of a political party, and that comes with it as well. Several meetings apart from, and organizational issues apart from your ordinary national and constituency issues. So there are days that you're just running on a treadmill. My mornings start at 4 and they end at 11. Well, the days end at 11, not the mornings.
How do you explain the feelings you evoke in people, both the good and the bad?
I should ask you that. I don't know. I've been around for a very long time. And I think the young people today, that generation between maybe 15 to 25, are not aware of how long I've been at the crease. So I've been in the Jamaicans' phase since I was 14 years old. I used to host rapping. I used to enter the dojo on TV. So between karate and school and other kinds of initiatives, and then Miss Jamaica, then Miss World, and then a number of other things. I've been in the public side for a long time. So I think that has one aspect to do with it. People have seen me over time grow in their faces. I think another thing is now politics evokes different feelings and different emotions. And so on the one side, you will have those persons who support the philosophies of your political party, or they don't. And so that will evoke one set of emotions, whether good or bad. You have another set of persons who are driven by emotions of any kind, and so their criticisms are not based on data. And then you just have persons that have their own opinions. I tell people all the time, you are entitled to your own opinions, but not your own facts. And then the ministry that I lead is one that is very, you can't measure the concrete and steel. So it's a very, very socially, emotionally, and certainly in some instances, the feelings that are evoked by, or that are triggered, especially when people see that children are sexually abused, they run with a soundbite rather than really delving into the analysis of what really is happening. So I think a combination of all of those things, and then there's an expectation of what a politician should be and what a cabinet minister should be. And I sometimes think that they don't think I fit that mold. So I've certainly broken the mold in a lot of different areas, and that will also trigger some things.
You entered politics in a very messianic way, and you just chronicled the journey in being in front of the people's eyes. But do you think you have failed that expectation, and if so, do you believe the expectations were unfair?
I've always thought that the life is a journey, it's not really a destination. And throughout even my studies, not only in Jamaica but in traveling the world, it was very, very clear to me that Jamaica is where my heart and my home is, and I'm a product of Jamaica. I was made in Jamaica, and my talents were given to the world as a result of that. And I think that my best value is to give back to Jamaica. In terms of the expectations, I think in the beginning, people didn't really know what to expect. It was a very superficial analysis of this quote-unquote beauty queen, former Miss World, who was now going to enter the political arena. Could she stand it? Could she withhold it? Could she balance it? And the data is there to prove it. One, I went into a constituency that I not only increased my percentage in terms of voter turnout in the second term, but having lost my strongest division in the boundary cut that I had, by about 2,000 plus PNP voters, I was able to increase my margin of victory by about 1,800. So my margin of victory is close to 4,500. Not only that, but the kind of infrastructural development that I've been able to bring to Southeast. So I've brought about $131 million worth of development and benefits for 2014 alone. Coupled with that, I became the regional chairman, so I'm not only in charge of my own constituency politically, but I lead the organization politically of another 5 constituencies, which in the last election we took back 2 seats from the JLP, and we took back the parish council as well in terms of increasing our majority in St. Anne, and we took back the parish council in Trelawney. So there is, I tell people all the time that what you see is what you get, but at the same time I'm a very stealthy and strategic politician, and I enjoy being on the ground. So I think people's expectations, a lot of them don't understand the cut and thrust of politics. It's a blood sport, and you have to be prepared to deal with those things. You have to be prepared to understand that it's not in the real sense of the word. When you see a politician standing on her own or his own, there is a lot of behind the scenes in terms of making sure your constituency is organized, so that at any minute's notice no one can come and pull the rug from underneath you. It can get very dirty because there are people who try to do that and try to organize to shift the rug from underneath you, and you have to be very vigilant about it, and you have to draw a line in the sand and let people know as a leader of the constituency where you stand. And you follow the structures of the party, and you certainly follow the structures of what you're there to represent. So in terms of people's expectations, I believe that people who have been watching, certainly from some of the feedback that I've gotten, there is a level of surprise on the one hand, but I think there is some goodwill out there as well to make sure that we really hope she succeeds.
You said this on your Instagram page. I have never run away from a battle or a challenge. And with the hashtag South East Center Movements, will that highlight or define who you are as a politician?
Not running away from a battle or a fight. I think that's one aspect of it. I think people are aware that, especially in my constituency, that I'm not afraid of a challenge. That's one. Two, I'm not afraid to stand up to persons who I believe who are bullies. And certainly three, at the end of the day, I'm there for the people. And no one is going to make me run away from the people because of tactics that are underhanded and certainly that lack transparency and lack accountability. And I believe in a new form of politics, and sometimes when you try to make inroads and changes, you get a pushback. And my whole aim and purpose, and not only mine, but there are several of us in the political movement who would like to make sure that the legacies that we leave are ones that see a progressive kind of politics and see a kind of politics where people have equal opportunity and equal access, and that respect is given across the board. So I don't know that that will define me, but I think it certainly encapsulates in the minds of people a little bit of what my character has.